have you all come back? From inside, their mother quickly ran outside. She stood in front of Fi Yao, pointed at him, and said, "A few days ago, I went back to my hometown to hang out and chat with friends. There's a granddaughter of my friend. I heard she is very pretty, and I want to introduce her to you. Later, you should go get your hair cut, wash your face, and tidy yourself up properly. Don't get caught up in any unexpected matters tomorrow." Upon hearing this, Fi Yao's expression changed to one of anxiety, and he immediately replied, "Ah, Ma, I think let's just forget about that. I just graduated high school, and I've been to prison. What girl would like me? Let's not waste her time." Seeing her son say that, his mother got angry and exclaimed, "My son may not have a high education, but who says that someone who has been to prison is not a good person?" From behind, Yu approached, nudged Fi Yao's shoulder, and winked while saying, "Big brother, don't be humble. I think Mom is right. If you tidy up, you'll look very handsome." Lin Ke walked over, put his arm around Fi Yao's shoulder, raised his hand, and said, "Let's go. We're going out for a stroll. I'll take you to shower, get your hair cut, and clean you up." The scene shifts to Funing Spa, the bright sign illuminating the night sky. In the bathroom, Fi Yao and Lin Ke are soaking together in the hot tub. Lin Ke speaks up and asks, "Brother, you said before that after you got out of prison, those people still came looking for you. Do you remember what they looked like?" Upon hearing the question, Fi Yao cautiously replies, "Why do you want to know this?" Lin Ke responds, "I'm just asking for fun. I want to solve this problem for you before I leave." Hearing this, Fi Yao becomes alarmed and quickly responds, "Don't. It's my issue. You don't need to worry about it. I can avoid them in the future. If they cause trouble, I'll call the police." At the same time, outside Funing Spa, a group of thugs appears in front of the store. Wang Wai Sai has a sinister smile, and then a man comes out from inside and says, "Boss Wang, you finally made it." Wai Sai asks, "Where are they?" The man replies, "They're still bathing. If we bursted now, we can catch them. Luckily, since you sent the pictures earlier, we managed to spot them in time." Wang Wai Sai turns around and gives orders. "Everyone wait in the car up front. Once they come out, make sure to attack them before they can resist. This time, we absolutely can't let them get away." Inside, Lin Ke and Fi Yao had finished changing. Lin Ke said, "Let's go. I'll find a place to fix your hairstyle." At that moment, a man entered with a frightened voice. "Sorry, you two. Are you Lin Ke and Wu Fi Yao? Someone outside is looking for you. I came to inform you." Hearing this, the two of them immediately went outside. The spa door slammed shut. A male staff member asked the manager, "What are you doing, manager?" The manager replied with a terrified expression, "The other side brought more than 20 people. They could beat those two so bad that even their mothers wouldn't recognize them. If I don't close the door after beating them, they'll definitely run into our shop. Then what will we do for business?" Outside, a group appeared in front of Lin Ke, holding various weapons. Wang Wai Sai stepped forward, coldly saying, "Wu Fi Yao, do you remember me?" Hearing the voice, Fi Yao panicked and shouted, "Wang Wai Sai." Lin Ke blocked Fi Yao and said, "I was just about to find you, and you showed up by yourself, which saves me time." Wang Wai Sai asked, "What? Kid, you want to take a beating with him?" Lin Ke replied coldly, "Yes, it's my brother's matter, so of course I have to step in." Lin Ke angrily continued, "It just so happens that 5 years ago, the high school girl you were teasing is my sister, so I have to deal with this." Wang Wai Sai frowned and said with contempt, "You have no blood relation to it. All are orphans." Ha ha ha. Lin Ke angrily kicked Wang Wai Sai in the face. Wang Wai Sai touched his cheek and shouted angrily, "Damn, do you want to die? Beat him up for me." Immediately, two of his underlings rushed forward. Lin Ke snatched the stick from one of them and struck him straight in the face, then turned and swung the stick at the other person, hitting him repeatedly in the head until he collapsed. Wang Wai Sai angrily got up, but Lin Ke bluntly threw the stick aside, then grabbed his hair and said, "First, you teased my sister, then you made my brother sit in prison for 5 years. It seems you have quite a lot of guts." Wang Wai Sai, sweating in fear, stammered, "Back then, your brother stabbed me with a knife, remember? If you have the guts, let me make a phone call. If my boss finds out, he will definitely not let you go." Lin Ke smiled faintly. "You guys always see help whenever there's an issue. It's really disgraceful." He tossed Wang Wai Sai to the ground and said, "Today, I will give you a chance to make a call. Let's see who you can summon here." Wang Wai Sai trembled as he called, his face pale and sweating. "Boss Lai, you have to help me. He has knocked us all down." 10 minutes later, a black car sped over. 3 people got out. Among them, a person frowned angrily and asked, "What's going on here?" Lin Ke recognized that person and asked, "Oh, it's you again. Has your injury healed and you forgot the pain?" The long-haired young man looked surprised. "Mr. Lin, it's actually you." Lin Ke smiled smugly. Is it that surprising to meet me? He forced a smile, offering a cigarette, and said, Why is it you? If I had known this was your business from the start, I would have helped you handle it. No need for you to get your hands dirty. Lin Ke took the cigarette and asked, Do you know this person? What do his parents do? The long-haired young man replied, half smiling and half serious. His father runs a company worth over $2 billion, and his mother also has some status and influence. Lin Ke sneered. Just because of their assets worth over $2 billion, they dare to be so arrogant. The long-haired young man added, This group of people is spoiled and their working style is quite arrogant, which is why they ended up like this. Lin Ke looked at Wang Wai Sai and said, Seeing how scared you are, I'm not even interested in hitting you anymore. Tomorrow, you can come to the Blue Sky Welfare Institute to find me. But I'm not sure if your parents' assets will still exist by then. Then the sound of the car door closing echoed and a black car drove away before Wang Wai Sai's horrified eyes. He, bleeding from his mouth, asked the man next to him, Is he really that powerful in Shanghai? The man with purple hair helped Wang Wai Sai up and said, Do you know what the biggest difference between him and others is? While he has wide connections, he usually does his own work. You should count yourself lucky that he spared your life. Wang Wai Sai whispered, Don't anyone mention this again. If he doesn't let this go, my family's business will be heavily affected. The next morning, a person yanked a green cloth away. Gu Yu Yu burst into laughter and tossed the blanket aside. Get up. Lin Ke groggily said, Last day of the weekend, let me sleep. Gu Yu Yu replied, Mom said your older brother is meeting someone today and asked you to help him out. Lin Ke looked at her thoughtfully. That makes sense. I'm not afraid, he said. All right, let's go. The scene shifts to a red building bathed in the warm light of early morning. Laughter echoes from inside as Bai Jing's mother smiles and says to her daughter about the boy she has arranged for her to meet Wu Fei Yao. Make sure to make a good impression on this boy today. You absolutely must not make any mistakes. Bai Jing wrinkles her face and asks, He doesn't have a job and comes from an orphanage. Do you think he's worthy of you? I don't want to go. Bai Jing's mother gently replies, All of this guy named Wu Fei Yao may not be much. His younger brother is very wealthy. He funds the entire orphanage. Plus, the orphanage is about to be demolished, so there will be a large sum of money, and they will definitely share a portion with you. Bai Jing brushes her hair back and laughs lightly. Since you put it that way, why should I marry him? Why not just go straight for his younger brother? Bai Jing's mother shakes her head. Do you think I want that? But his younger brother already has a girlfriend, so you only have the second choice left. Bai Jing thinks for a moment. So what if he has a girlfriend? Can't I just seduce him? At that moment, Wu Fei Yao, Lin Ke, and Wu Fei Yao's mother approach. Bai Jing sees them and gasps in surprise, thinking to herself, So handsome. She steps forward to shake hands with Wang Ru Ping, saying, Aunt Ping, this is my first time visiting your orphanage. Wang Ru Ping smiles happily. Bai Jing continues to flatter. I didn't expect you to manage it so well. You're really talented. She smiled and replied, Every day I don't do much. It's not as good as you say. Come on, let's go inside and have a chat. Then, a glass of water was placed on the table. Someone brought a freshly brewed cup of tea and said, Drink some tea, it's freshly made. Wang Ru Ping smiled and said, I won't be around the bush. Let's get to the main topic. My son just came back from somewhere else. She turned to Wu Fei Yao, patted his shoulder, and asked, What do you think of the girl Bai Jing? Any thoughts? Wu Fei Yao chuckled and scratched his head. Very nice. Wang Ru Ping continued, Bai Jing, how about you? We are all family here, so feel free to speak your mind. Bai Jing lowered her head and said, I feel he is sincere. Finding someone like him to spend life with is very good. She nodded. If you both feel fine, and that's already 8 or 9 parts of the way there, do you have any requests? Bai Jing's mother smiled and said, I think Fei Yao is a good boy. We can discuss this further, maybe about the betrothal gift. She smiled and asked, Please state any requests directly. Now that Lin Ke is independent, I no longer need to worry about him. My eldest son is settled, and the others won't get married for a few more years. I will do my best to help with anything from my side. Bai Jing's mother held a cup of hot tea and said, Let me be honest. We all know each other well, so we do not ask for too much. The betrothal gift of $88,000 is a lucky number. I think it's quite reasonable. Wang Ru Ping unexpectedly replied, $88,000? Lin Ke looked at the Bai family mother and daughter, thinking, Jay King Ren wouldn't dare ask me for $88,000. Bai Jing glanced secretly at Lin Ke, while Lin Ke thought someone like her dares to demand this. Bai Jing's mother frowned. In the past, people even offered up to $108,000. I was hesitant to ask you for that much. Lin Ke crossed her arms and said, $88,000 is not necessarily a lot. If you have any other demands, please continue. Let's discuss everything at once. Bai Jing and her mother exchanged smiles. Bai Jing's mother added, "We also hope that besides the betrothal gift, there will be a 300 square meters house in the city center, close to a key school, so that our future children can receive a good education and not fall behind others." Lin Ke smiled and asked, "We are putting in so much. How much dowry can you prepare?" Bai Jing's mother expressed her displeasure and replied, "Dowry? You are still talking about dowry now? That's an old-fashioned mindset." Lin Ke frowned. "That's not quite correct. To marry, one needs virtue. To marry a concubine, one needs beauty. Even women in ancient times had dowries. The more dowry there is, the higher the status in the husband's family." Bai Jing, angry, slammed the table and stood up, shouting, "What did you say?" Who are you? You walked in and said, "Brother, there is someone named Wu Jia outside looking for you." Bai Jing and her mother were surprised to hear that. Bai Jing's mother thought to herself, "Wu Jia is well known and he came here?" At a large red house, a group of people was carrying belongings inside. Wu Tianfu clasped his hands and smiled, saying, "Mr. Lin, I have been back to my hometown to pay respects to my ancestors these past few days, and I didn't know you had come to Yangcheng. I am here today to wish you a happy new year." Bai Jing and her mother ran out. Bai Jing's mother was stunned and thought to herself, "This is the renowned Mr. Wu, yet he is being polite to the son of Wang Ruping." Lin Ke looked up and said, "You came to wish me a happy new year? Leave the things here. I still have a few matters to attend to." Bai Jing's mother saw a woman walking in and asked, "Sister Liu, why are you here?" The woman with the surname Liu asked, "Do you know Mr. Lin?" Bai Jing's mother replied, "We are here today to introduce a match for her brother." The woman happily said, "That's great." She turned to Lin Ke and said, "Mr. Lin, we already know about yesterday's incident. We've already taught our children a lesson. Please give us another chance." Lin Ke calmly said, "Your son dared to be arrogant and overbearing because you were supporting him from behind, right? Do you think I can easily let this go?" She bowed her head and said, "This is our fault. We take full responsibility. It will definitely not happen again in the future. We will behave ourselves." Lin Ke said, "Then I'll give you a chance for now. But if I catch you doing things that annoy me next time, don't say I wasn't polite." She bowed her head and quickly responded, then turned to press her hand on Wang Wai Sai's head and said, "What are you standing there for? Hurry up and thank Mr. Lin." Wang Wai Sai turned pale, bowed his head and said, "Thank you, Mr. Lin. Thank you, Mr. Lin." At that moment, a person in red high-heeled shoes walked in. Bai Jing and her mother froze like stone. What kind of person is this younger sister of Wu Fei Yao? Wang Wai Si, with his injured face, looked up. He smiled and approached Lin Ke, saying, "Mr. Lin, I have something to tell you." Lin Ke glanced at him and asked, "What is it?" "If it's a plea for mercy, there's no need. I haven't touched your family business yet." Wang Wai Sai pointed at Bai Jing and said, "No, it's not that. I know this person named Bai Jing. She is extremely promiscuous. Anyone wanting to date her should think twice." Bai Jing angrily said, "Wang Wai Si, stop talking nonsense." Wang Wai Sai pointed directly at her face and said, "Don't pretend to be innocent with me. Your pictures in the group are still there. You're not pure and proper at all." Mother Bai Jing smiled awkwardly and said, "Don't listen to his nonsense. He is slandering my daughter. My daughter is very innocent and well-behaved." Wu Fei Yao's mother then said, "Then perhaps we also need to reconsider. Let's end it here for today. Both our families should think it over." Bai Jing smiled at Wu Fei Yao and asked, "Who doesn't have a past, right? The past is the past, and now is now. We are very compatible together." Wu Fei Yao looked a bit surprised, mixed with fear. Lin Ke looked at the two of them and felt a headache, while Wu Tianfu, standing nearby, smiled and asked Lin Ke, "Mr. Lin, do you need me to resolve this for you?" Lin Ke replied, "Get rid of all the unrelated people outside. Watching them is giving me a headache." Wu Tianfu clasped his hands and said, "Understood." He turned and shouted, "Mr. Lin has ordered the guests to leave. What are you still doing here?" The two of them, Bai Jing and her mother, hurriedly ran outside, with her mother bowing her head, her face pale, and saying, "We will leave right now." Then another person in red high heels also left. Wang Ruping sighed and said, "I thought this girl was a good person. I didn't expect this. I really misjudged her. Forget it. It's the youth's affair that the mother won't manage anymore." At the large airport gate, Jay King Ren raised her hand to wave at Lin Ke and ran over to hug him. Lin Ke smiled and asked, "It's been over 10 days since we last met. Did you miss me?" Jay King Ren kissed his cheek, smiling and saying, "Of course I missed you." She looked at him and asked, "Mr. Lin, it's the new year. Do you have any plans?" Lin Ke smiled and replied, Growing vegetables and raising fish is the top priority right now. Jay King Ren laughed, stacking her suitcase on the car, and asked, "What about the company's development plan?" Lin Ke said, "This year, our photolithography project is about to be completed. It's really time to make a big move." Jay King Ren handed him an item and said, "Mr. Lin's work this year needs to be more diligent." Lin Ke looked at her and asked, "Are you here to pick me up, or do you see me as your driver?" She replied proudly, "Of course." In Jai King Ren's car, Lin Ke's voice echoed, "You are my lifelong dedicated driver." At a large green gate, a hand knocked on the wooden door. Yuan, sitting on a chair, said, "Come in." Lin Ke entered, smiling and radiating positive energy. Yuan, angry and with a purple face, looked at Lin Ke and said, "What are you planning to do today? You actually knocked on my door." Lin Ke laughed, scratched his head in embarrassment, and replied, "Ah, boss lady, look at what you're saying. Isn't it after the new year? So I brought a little gift for you." He placed a gift box on the table. Yuan crossed her arms, her face showing some displeasure, raised an eyebrow at Lin Ke, and said, "Suddenly being so polite like this, it's not a traitor, it's also a thief. You definitely have something bad to discuss with me." Lin Ke smiled and said, "Don't say that. The main thing is that I am currently focusing on a new project. I feel that everyone else in the company lacks the ability. Only you can handle it." Yuan smiled and asked, "On the land of Langyun Corporation, except for Mr. Ke, I really don't see anyone else worthy. What project could you possibly need me for?" Lin Ke smiled and said, "I've just targeted a piece of land near Zhonghai and want to develop more business for the company. After careful consideration, I see that you are the only one capable of taking this on." Yuan happily stood up and said, "Boss, have you grown up in the new year? You finally admit to my abilities." Lin Ke laughed and replied, "That statement couldn't be more true. These past few days at home, I've deeply reflected on my previous actions and found them truly despicable. So I've decided to give you full authority over this project." Yuan unwrapped a piece of chocolate, put it in her mouth, and asked, "Full authority given to me. You won't interfere, right?" Lin Ke raised his hand and smiled. "Of course." Then he took out a document and said, "Today, I brought the appointment paperwork. All you need to do is sign. This project will change the future landscape of our company and holds historical significance." The document was about the project for land renovation and upgrade of industries. Yuan asked, "Why did you think of this project?" Lin Ke pointed upwards and said, "I've heard that agriculture will be the leading industry in the future. Therefore, this project is very important, and I'm not at ease handing it over to someone else." Yuan signed her name on the document and then smiled, saying, "All right, what are we waiting for? Let's go check out the project now." Lin Ke and Yuan went outside together, and he said, "Let's go." In an area with closely built houses, Yuan sat in the car, sweating, and asked, "Wait, aren't we supposed to be viewing the project? Why are you bringing me to this town?" Lin Ke smiled mischievously. "Don't rush, we'll get there soon." Yuan looked worried. When they arrived at a large and luxurious house, she asked, "Where is this?" Lin Ke replied, "Don't ask too much, you'll know once you go in. Isn't this a greenhouse? There's nothing to see, and the quality is not bad." He raised his hand and said with a smile, "This is the new project I just set my sights on. I have already purchased this greenhouse. We'll be preparing to grow fruits here, and you will be the project manager. You will be in charge of this project in the future." Yuan was surprised and gasped, "What? The new project you mentioned is this greenhouse." Lin Ke hurriedly said, "Hey, take it easy. Take it easy for a moment. This is just a small part of the project. A talented person like you can't just do this little task, can you?" Yuan gradually calmed down and asked, "Are there other components?" Lin Ke smiled and said, "Come on, let me take you to see." He pointed to a large fish pond and said, "This fish pond is also mine. I've included it in the project. You will manage everything." Yuan, angry, took off her shoe and held it up, saying, "You should be grateful that I'm wearing flat shoes today. Otherwise, I would have hit you." Lin Ke responded, Wait, just the greenhouse and this fish pond aren't enough to showcase Boss Lady's abilities. The focus of this project is on real estate." Yuan, dissatisfied, asked, "What specifically?" She turned away and said, "It's too far from the city here. Building houses definitely won't work. Making it a rural tourist destination with local customs would be fine." Lin Ke clapped and said, "Once again, CEO, he has the vision." He pointed to a certain house. Yuan grabbed her bag and chased after Lin Ke, saying, "Lin Ke, do you believe I would hit you?" Lin Ke turned back and said, Don't. Let's talk slowly. No matter what, you are the most capable and talented person I trust. I've given you such a big project. Why do you look down at my intentions?" Yuan, angry, held a brow-shaping knife and asked, "I am the CEO, and you expect me to work in the fields? What are you thinking? Lin Ke covered his eyebrows with his hand and said, Isn't no profession more noble than another? He even Yuan, furious, with a pale face, asked, Then why don't you go find my sister Jay King Ren? Lin Ke smiled, reached out his hand, and said, That's different. Your sister is a spoiled young lady who doesn't know how to farm. This touches on her blind spot of knowledge. Your annual salary will increase by $500,000. He even Yuan turned her back, angrily asking, Do you think $500,000 can convince me? What do you think He Yuan is? Lin Ke said, $1 million. He even Yuan's feet gradually turned back, and she said, Where's the hoe? Spring is coming soon. We need to till the soil once, or we can't plant anything. Lin Ke put his arm around He Yuan's shoulders and said, Indeed, you are a good employee. But don't rush to till the soil. We need to buy seeds first. He even Yuan asked, When do you want to plant? Do you have any plans? At the seed store, Lin Ke and He Yuan went inside. He Yuan said to the owner, I want to buy some fruit seeds. Choose the best ones. The owner smiled and asked, What kind do you need? He Yuan said, Papaya, watermelon, honey peach, cherry, pineapple, banana. Just bring out whatever you have. The boss smiled and said, Please wait a moment. I will calculate the bill. A person called out, Xiao Wu, come here for a moment. A man stood in front of another man, seemingly his superior. Xiao Wu smiled and said, Brother Chang, are you looking for me? The man named Chang pointed down and asked, What are the couple down there doing in our shop? Xiao Wu replied, They came to buy seeds, wanting to purchase fruit seeds and fruit trees, and they said they wanted to choose the best quality. He said loudly, Then sell them the fake ones. He slammed his hand on the table, looking somewhat displeased and irritated, and said, Raise the price a bit and say it's the best quality seeds. Xiao Wu nodded and said, Got it, Brother Chang. Someone said, Brother Chang, the last time he hit us, we should teach him a lesson. This is too light on them. The Chang frowned and said, Do you think I don't want to? One of his subordinates sinisterly said, Look at their demeanor. They will definitely be here for a while. There will be plenty of opportunities to deal with them. No rush. After that, he handed out a piece of paper listing the products. It turned out to be an invoice. The total amount for the products was written down, resulting in a long invoice. Xiao Wu looked at the two people and said, Sir and ma'am, here is the invoice. The total is 9820, rounded off to 9800. He Yuan was annoyed, holding the bill and asking, Is it really that expensive? He Yuan wrote something on a piece of paper and said, Fine, after all, we are not sure on money. She held the paper out to Xiao Wu and said, We've paid, have it delivered here for us later. In a rather simple house, Boss Lady He and Lin Ke walked in. Boss Lady He asked, Boss, do you want to live in seclusion? And you chose this place. Lin Ke turned on the faucet, replying, This is called experiencing nature. You wouldn't understand the deeper meaning. While speaking, Lin Ke washed his hands and enjoyed the refreshing feeling of the cold water. He even uncrossed her arms and replied, This is the first time I've heard that. Farming has to do with experiencing nature. Sister Jay King Ren likes nature too, but I haven't seen her farming. Lin Ke dried his hands with a towel and responded, She indeed doesn't farm, but she has to raise pigs. At this point, He Yuan was a bit surprised, so she asked, Raise pigs? Well, you should go cook. I'm about to starve to death. This place is suitable for making iron pot duck. I'll handle the technique and seasoning. You go buy the duck. Lin Ke disdainfully replied, Am I from this village? Where do you expect me to buy the duck? He Yuan was a bit surprised by the question, so she paused to think for a moment. Then she remembered something and went to a place with a lot of ducks. There was a woman in a yellow shirt taking care of the ducks. Seeing this, He Yuan asked, Sister, do you have big ducks at your home? Can you sell us one? It turned out that the woman was Yu Min, she replied. Yes, but they aren't big yet. It's not time to slaughter them. You guys should check out another house. He Yuan went up on the wall and continued to speak. It's okay, smaller ones have better meat. How much is one? Yu Min smiled widely and said, If you really want them, I'll sell you two for 150 RMB. Boss Lady quickly agreed upon hearing this. She responded, All right, what's your e-wallet number? I'll transfer the money to you. Yu Min quickly waved her hand. No rush, neighbors. It's the same if you give it later. Yu Min took the ducks to hand over to He Yuan. She hugged the two ducks and continued to say, Looking at the two of you, you're from the city, right? He Yuan mischievously replied, My boyfriend isn't in good health, so we came here to recuperate and wanted to eat some nutritious food. Lin Ke, hearing this, felt very upset but didn't know what to do. She could only stand there silently while the others talked badly about her. Yu Min looked over at Lin Ke and said, Then you really need to take good care of your health. At this age, to have such an illness is not good. Meanwhile, He Yuan stood beside, covering her mouth with her hand, laughing at Lin Ke. Lin Ke was shocked to the core, angry but unable to do anything. Then suddenly a car rolled up. 4 people got out. Among them were Jay King Ren and Kin Han. Kin Han asked, Lin, what kind of shock have you experienced? You actually came here to farm? Lin Ke put his hands in his pockets and replied, this is called experiencing nature, you know. Why did everyone come here together? Jay King Ren linked her arm with Lin Ke's and smiled. We met at the village entrance. Did you buy me a piglet? He Yuan was surprised to hear this and asked with her mouth agape, are you really raising a pig? Jay King Ren pointed a finger at the car and answered, I think it's quite cute, and since I have the means now, I wanted to raise one. I've already bought a cage and leash. They are all in the trunk. He Yuan, feeling a bit disheartened, replied, oh, are you raising a pig in a cage? You just need to build a pig pen, and you even bought a leash. This statement seemed to enlighten Jay King Ren. Her eyes widened. Ah, really? While the two were talking, a truck suddenly arrived. A man got out of the truck and said, your stuff has been delivered. Come here to pick it up. He Yuan asked, is it the seeds and seedlings we ordered this morning? But these all seem to have no leaves. Maybe they all died. Seeing this, Jay King Ren was quite surprised and asked back, are all these seedlings without leaves dead? The man beside her said, I feel the same way. It seems like they are all dead. He Yuan carried a bag of goods inside and said, can you both appreciate this a bit? These fruit seedlings are all like this. Come help take them down. After the truck finished its delivery task, it rolled away. Jay King Ren also carried a bag to help He Yuan. She asked, Yuan, what kind of seeds are these? He Yuan placed all the bags of seeds on the ground and started to explain, there are watermelon, snow melon, strawberry, and the rest are fruit trees. Lin Ke responded, in short, they are common fruits. We bought a little of everything. Then He Yuan opened a bag of seeds, looking quite puzzled. Jay King Ren, standing beside her, curiously asked, what's wrong? Boss Lady picked up a small seed in her hand, carefully examined it, and began to speak. I feel like there's something wrong with these seeds. Lin Ke asked, what happened? Boss Lady, he replied, these seeds are a bit dry, not like good seeds. Jay King Ren, standing beside her, added, could it be that we were cheated? Boss Lady called out loudly, excuse me, are you busy? Yumin turned back and asked, what's wrong? Boss Lady looked at Yumin and began to say, we bought some seeds and fruit trees earlier and we feel there's an issue. Could you help us check? Yumin began to open several bags of seeds, holding them up and examining them in her hands. After a thorough inspection, Yumin started to speak. These are all defective products and planting them won't necessarily yield flowers and fruits. Even if they do bloom, they may not be edible. Then Yumin raised her hands and continued. So these seeds are of no use at all. Yuan was taken aback, only able to exclaim in frustration, what? Yumin added, moreover, the fruit trees you bought may not be good either. If you can return them, go ahead and do so. Yuan angrily knocked over all the bags of seeds, saying in annoyance, so you've sold me defective products. I must confront him about this. The man next to her calmly advised, take it easy. It's such a small matter. No need to get angry. Lang Jinming also chimed in. How bold to cheat people and dare to deceive my Lin. If this word gets to Shanghai, it will only make people laugh. Kin Han beside them added, come on, let's go see who has the courage to do this. Then they started heading to the seed cellar. The seed seller greeted the newcomers, asking, do you all want to add more types of seeds? What do you want? We have everything in stock. Liang Jinming signaled to the person who was just speaking to him, come here, I have something to ask. The staff member respectfully and attentively replied, sir, what would you like to ask? Liang Jinming was indeed a hot-tempered man. Without warning, he kicked straight into the guy's stomach. The kick sent him flying towards the cabinet that held the bags of seeds. Liang Jinming stood with his hands on his hips and said, how dare you sell fake seeds to Mr. Lin? Do you feel that daily life is too peaceful, or do you think won't dare to hit you? The seller lay flat on the ground after that kick. The sales assistant got up, looking quite pained. I didn't sell fake goods. Liang Jinming threw a bag of seeds at the seller, angrily cursing, damn, stop talking useless nonsense. Get your boss out here. If today's issue isn't resolved clearly, I will flatten your place tomorrow. The manager there shouted angrily, what do you want? To just attack someone for no reason? Lin Ke turned to look at that manager. He also had a few beads of sweat on his forehead and said, I am the manager here. If there's something, you can come to me. Lin Ke began to speak. In fact, you are selling at an expensive price, and I'm not really angry. It's just that seeing us with money, you want to cheat us for a bit. But these things are fake. which is a bit too much. The manager, while smoking, raised his hand and said, "Stop slandering us here. We have never sold fake goods. Even if the items have issues, it's because you brought them back for an exchange." Kin Han rubbed his wrist. Then there's nothing more to say. The manager ordered his 2 employees. "Beat them up." Lin Ke, Chin Han, and Liang Jinming all rushed in, starting the fight. Lin Ke kicked one employee in the head, causing him to bleed. The other 2 employees, seeing their colleague injured, charged in with their sticks, but they were met with a kick to the stomach, followed by a punch to the chin. Suddenly, a voice yelled, "What's going on here?" Boss Kine entered, hands on his hips, shouting loudly, "Causing a ruckus in my shop, huh?" When Lin Ke saw him, he thought, "So it's him. Looks like this situation was waiting for me." The manager reported, "Mr. Chan, you're here. These people came here to make trouble, saying our store sells fake goods. Not only did they break things, but they also hit people." De Kang said, "Hey bro, what do you mean by doing that? The items sold in our shop are all genuine. What do you base your claim on that we sell counterfeit goods?" Someone came over and shouted to stop. "I am Zhou Aimin, the person in charge of the Saifang Town Committee. Are you guys hitting someone? Follow me back to the office." Lin Ke called his friends. "Let's go, brothers. Let's take a stroll." Kin Han said, "Let's go." At the village committee, Mr. Zhao Aimin was questioning Lin Ke's group. "Did you come to the Shuangfei seed shop to cause trouble under orders? According to the public security regulations, not only do you have to compensate them for the damages, but you would also face a 7-day detention." Lin Ke calmly sat down. "You can judge however you like, but there are some things you should think carefully about. If I get involved, you won't be able to bear the consequences." Zhao Aimin angrily slammed the table. "Are you threatening me? Do you not know what position you are in? A bunch of people who don't know who really holds the power here? Today I will show you the power of Zhao Aimin." At that moment, a staff member rushed in. "Leader, it seems something has happened. Several luxury cars are parked outside, blocking the way in and out of our village." Zhao Aimin broke out in a sweat. What? What is happening? Let me go take a look." At that moment, the phone next to Liang Ruyu rang. She answered, panicking, and said, "What did you say? Lin Ke has been arrested?" Outside the town of Saifang, Mr. Gao Qin Mian, Mr. Liang Zhengdong, and Mr. Qin Zhang King got out of the car. Mr. Zhang King said, "These kids really know how to make others worry. It's the new year, and they've already been brought in." Mr. Liang Zhengdong said, "But why are only we here? Where's the kid Lin Ke? Why didn't they call the family?" Mr. Gao Qin Mian confidently said, "My connections are well known. Everyone is afraid of this. Let's just handle it. Making a big deal out of it won't do any good." Mr. Qin agreed, "That's true." Zhao Aimin rushed out and asked, "Excuse me, may I ask what's going on?" Mr. Qin introduced himself first. "Hello, I am Chairman Qin Zhang King of the Han Hai Group. The young man Qin Han you just arrested is my son." Mr. Qin continued, "Next is Mr. Liang. I am Chairman Liang Zhengdong of Xinhua Airlines. The young man Liang Jinming, who's arrested, is my son." Upon hearing this, Zhao Aimin panicked. Finally, Mr. Gao introduced himself. "I am Gao Qin Mian from the Machinery Group. Gabazong Yuan, my son, is also here." Zhao Aimin was extremely surprised. "What have I done?" He flustered. "Gentlemen, please don't rush. There must be a misunderstanding. I will take you there now. They haven't been harmed at all. They are behaving well there." He thought to himself, "This is the family member of those 3 people. The one named Lin Ke seems to have no backing." Everyone opened the door and walked in. Mr. Zhao Aimin pointed to Lin Ke and asked, "Mr. Qin, may I ask if you have any relation to this person?" The others were fine. They could sign over there and leave, but he had to stay. Lin Ke immediately agreed. "All right, I'll stay a little longer." Just as Lin Ke agreed to stay, someone entered from outside who allowed you to stay. It was Liang Ruyu and Mr. Mo Hong Shan. Seeing this, Zhao Aimin became timid. "Mr. Lin, the occurrence of this situation is due to my failure to adhere to my assigned responsibilities. I will definitely deal with them. Today, I am the host and will arrange a dinner to apologize to you." Lin Ke declined. "No need. But you must handle the business matter." Zhao Aimin agreed. All right. I will handle this strictly." Lin Ke turned to Ru Yu and asked, "Why did everyone come here? It makes me feel embarrassed." Ru Yu asked, "What exactly happened?" Lin Ke explained, "I'm here purchasing land and a fish pond, preparing to grow fruits and raise fish. Then they sold fake seeds, and after the conflict ensued, I was brought here. Everyone was surprised, growing vegetables and raising fish." Lin Ke continued, "I feel that city people are too impulsive. The pace of life is too fast, which doesn't suit me, so I need to retreat to the woods to find myself again." After that, everyone left. Lin Ke said, Let's go back to Shanghai for a meal. I'm hungry. At the hotel in Shanghai, everyone ate together. Lin Ke said, let me introduce you. These three people are the most powerful family in Shanghai, known throughout Huaxia. Suddenly, he saw Mo Hongshan and expressed doubt. Why is he here? Isn't he only following Yang Guangstea? Lin Ke turned to Ru Yu and said, I'll go to the restroom for a minute over in the restroom area. As Lin Ke stepped outside, he encountered Mo Hongshan. He said, Mr. Hongshan, how do you find the food? Is it to your taste? Is this drink unfamiliar? Let me change it for you. Hongshan waved his hand. No, I need to go back soon. The drinking can only stop here. When I have some free time, I'll find you for another drink. He then looked around cautiously and whispered to Lin Ke, do you have time now? I want to have a private talk with you. Lin Ke gestured that no one was around. Let's talk over there. They are closing up. Lin Ke was curious. Mr. Hongshan, what is it about? Hongshan took a token out of his pocket. Take a look at this first. Lin Ke was intrigued. What is this? Hongshan said, let me reintroduce myself. Besides being Mr. Yang's close guard, I am also one of the senior reserve bodyguards of Huaxia. Lin Ke said, this is a newly established organization. A person like you can only be a reserve member. This organization must be quite something, right? Mr. Hongshan continued, it's not new. It has a history of 100 years. It just hasn't been disclosed to the outside. To join this organization, one must understand the way of fighting with the hidden power within. I'm still not fully skilled, so I'm just a reserve member. Lin Ke said, I admit that I know how to fight and develop danshin power, but if you shoot me with a gun, you can just kill me. Even if my skills are better than yours, it's useless. Mr. Hongshan expressed his viewpoint. Here's the situation. A year ago, it seems you've had a conflict with someone else. The organization wants to recruit you, so I'm here to ask for your opinion. Lin Ke asked, is the mission that the organization is carrying out related to pre-civilization? Mr. Hongshan was surprised. You know my identity. I can't tell you what the mission is, but I think if you meet Mr. Yang, your questions will be answered. Lin Ke put an arm around him and happily said, all right then, I'll think about it. Let's go eat. But Mr. Hongshan wasn't very happy. At this point, I don't have the mood to eat. Two people say goodbye to each other. When they reach the door, Lin Ke meets another person. You are deep in thought, finally made it to the door. At the hotel, Lin Ke and Ru Yu are chatting with each other. Ru Yu asks, everyone has left. Can you tell me why you went to work in the fields? Lin Ke replies confidently. To the east, a peaceful view of the southern mountains. I have loved rural life since I was young. Now that I have money, I naturally want to return to vast nature. Ru Yu angrily says, you always just talk nonsense with me. Besides, if you want to plant, let me call someone to bring some seeds. Just remember that I am the CEO of a conglomerate with a status worth billions and you want to buy fake seeds. If this gets out, people will laugh. Lin Ke wraps his arm around her waist. Then you arrange for me whatever seeds and I will plant that. It is already dark and the crescent moon is very beautiful. Lin Ke has returned home. King Ren smiles and asks, how was it? Have all those matters been taken care of? Lin Ke responds, we caught what needed to be caught and withdrew what needed to be withdrawn. There will be no more issues in the future. King Ren takes his coat to help him, but that person named Wu Dekang is a bit annoying. I let him go before and now he is here causing trouble. He Yuan, who is eating there, says, things are different in the countryside compared to the city. If they see you as easy to bully, they will bully you to death. Lin Ke asked, why are you still here? Then he pushed Yuan out the door, threw her the handbag, and said, now that I'm home, you can leave. The new seeds will be delivered to you tomorrow morning. Come to the village a bit earlier. Yuan was angry. That's enough. One person is asking me to go farming. Another is asking me to raise pigs. Can someone give me a way to survive? Lin Ke said, hurry up and go. Don't waste any more time. The next day in the village, Lin Ke held a ginseng in his hand, feeling helpless. Oh my God, you've brought so many ginsengs. Is this grown in a greenhouse? He Yuan said, it's not just ginseng. There are also 4 freshly picked reishi mushrooms. Boss, you're really foolish. How did you end up with so many good items? Lin Ke was speechless. Play like that. Yuan held a mushroom. You could just grow some fruit. The ginseng and reishi mushrooms can't be grown at your place, so it'd be better to give them to me. Lin Ke asked her, what do you need those for? Yuan humorously replied, if you don't take free stuff, it's a waste. Lin Ke poured out a bag of soil and he was mixing it well. Then he used a shovel to mix thoroughly and piled it around the base of the plant. The electronic screen announced, a plant has been planted. Career completion degree, 10%. Task to test the growth-enhancing medicine for the spring garden is full. Sand, plant all the empty land. Reward, 200,000 proficiency points. Lin Ke happily rolled up his sleeves. All right, let's get down to business. In the evening, Lin Ke had an appointment with Mo Hongshan. The two met. Lin Ke greeted, "Mr. Hongshan, you're here." Hongshan said, "Let's go inside first. Mr. Yang is waiting for you." Inside, Mr. Yang Guangxia was already waiting. "Younger man, you finally arrived. I've been waiting for you for over half a day. Come and taste my tea. It's very good." Lin Ke happily replied, "There's no need to be so polite. I'm not an outsider." Mr. Yang Guangxia got straight to the point. "Then I won't hide it anymore. Regarding civilized prehistory, how did you find out? Did someone from the Qin family tell you?" Lin Ke was taken aback and thought, "Who is this Qin family?" He said, "It has nothing to do with anyone else. No one told me. I just happened to discover it. In this matter, any organization or individual is neutral. Mr. Yang, there's no need to be so sensitive." Mr. Yang asked, "What do you think about the organization wanting to recruit you now?" Lin Ke replied, "Recruit me if you want, but you have to let me know what this organization does and where it is." Mr. Yang stood up. He uses this organization to develop civilized prehistory, which contains many confidential elements. Besides our own people, there are also foreigners on Julia Island at 30 degrees north latitude. Lin Ke asked again, "Julia?" Mr. Yang said, "After many years of research, it has been discovered that there exists an ancient civilization called Julia. 3 years ago, the nation's scientific research experts discovered uranium ore on the island and also found a pile of discarded nuclear reactions. Furthermore, the technology is quite advanced, something that current scientific technology cannot achieve." Lin Ke stood up and slammed the table. It surely can't be enough. He thought, just as he had predicted, the system must have originated from this civilization. Mr. Yang continued, "Because we can endure hardships, we originally had a certain advantage in organization. But recently, some developed countries have been creating drugs that can alter genes. Thus, we have lost our leading advantage over the years." Lin Ke sank into thought. The Va family had always wanted to recruit him, aiming to develop a gene drug. Could this be related to that? He raised his head and asked, "Can I go and see?" Mr. Yang patted him on the shoulder. "Okay, then I will help you contact someone from the organization. When the time comes, they will discuss with you. Remember, this matter must be kept confidential. No one else must know." Lin Ke agreed, understood. Afterward, Mr. Yang left first. Lin Ke watched the car go lost in thought with many questions. He called Anshen. "Anshen, I want to ask you something. If you know, please tell me. Is there a powerful family named Qin in Huaxia?" Anshen was surprised. "How do you know?" Lin Ke wondered, "Should I have known something already?" Anshen said, "Your biological mother is Qin Yan Yu, the talented woman who leads Yanjing." Lin Ke entered the room and closed the door. "So that's how it is. Yes, thank you, Anshen." He sat down and thoughtfully pondered about Qin Yan Yu, a nice name. What is his family, after all? A week later, Lin Ke's farm was lush with trees and vegetables. As he was weeding the vegetables, Sister Yu Min came to ask, "Young man, why are you all alone? Where's your girlfriend?" Lin Ke replied, "She has some business today, so she couldn't come." Yu Min cheerfully said, "Come have lunch. I made fish today. Come here and eat a little." Lin Ke immediately agreed. Okay. Early in the morning, Lin Ke brought a gift to give to the host. The brown-haired man, seeing the young man he had only met a few times offering a precious gift, was very polite. Waving his hand to decline, "Young man, what are you doing? Quickly take it back. Good wine like this would be a waste for me." Lin Ke just smiled and said lightly, "I have plenty more in the trunk of my car. These 2 bottles are not a problem." The brown-haired man also enjoyed drinking wine and could tell immediately that it was high-quality wine. This kind of good wine he only saw on TV, let alone having the chance to drink it regularly. He spoke while fondling the very elegantly designed wine bottles. His wife, who had just worked hard cooking, came out and saw her husband fixated on the 2 precious bottles of wine, leaving her furious. "Look at what you're doing. 2 bottles of wine have made you lose your focus." He just chuckled at her words. Indeed, her cooking skills were outstanding. The dishes were colorful and appetizing, still hot, with a fragrant aroma that made one want to eat right away. The family was eating and chatting, discussing various topics. The man took the opportunity to ask about farming. "Hey bro, how is your greenhouse going? Have you planted everything yet?" The couple were just country folks with no formal education, and they were more skilled at farming than him, so in the future, if he had any issues, he could always ask them. Seeing this friendly and enthusiastic brother was very kind, Lin Ke felt happy. He opened up comfortably. "The greenhouse is all set up, just the artwork left. I'm planning to plant some vegetables. I intend to go buy some pipes tomorrow to make watering easier." Hearing this, the man quickly interrupted. "Perhaps Lin Ke here doesn't know the rules yet. Don't do that. Don't connect the water pipes yourself. That's not okay. The well water used for farming is taken by the villagers, and each household has to pay a fee. You're new here. You can't use the well water freely. Lin Ke felt confused and wanted to have 3 question marks pop up over his head because he didn't understand. Normally, taking well water was very common, so why did he have to pay? Brown Hair knew Lin Ke had noticed something unusual but didn't intend to make it difficult for him. He said, "How about tomorrow I take you to pay the fee, and then you can farm with peace of mind." Lin Ke slammed his glass on the table when he heard he had to pay to use the well water, a right that should naturally belong to farmers. He explained, "I don't lack money, but I shouldn't be paying for something unfair. Villagers in other areas use the water for free. Why do they charge fees in this village?" Brown Hair also felt frustrated about this situation. He sighed helplessly. This can't be reasoned with. Liu Dongming has been reckless in this village, and his brother-in-law is the village chief. Who can touch him? In the beginning, there were objections when they dubbed the well, but in the end, none of them had a good outcome. At this point, he felt a bit hoarse. Brown Hair patted him on the shoulder. "So, listen to my advice. Pay the money tomorrow and focus on farming. Let's consider this over." Lin Ke, who was originally rough-tempered and the main character, was even less afraid and determined to stand up for justice for the villagers. "I'm really not scared of this. All right? We'll talk about this later." While the 2 brothers were eating, they saw their sister-in-law dragging her bike out. Lin Ke turned around to ask, "Sister-in-law, where are you going?" She waved her hand politely. "I'm just taking the child to school. No need to talk. Okay. If I don't leave soon, he'll be late for class." Lin Ke stood up, enthusiastically offering to help. "Don't ride your bike anymore. I happen to have to go to town. Let me give the kid a ride to school." Hearing this, Yumin was also delighted because the journey was both long and difficult. Having a car to take them was great. She appreciated the young man very much. "Then I should thank you very much. Today the blue sky was high and refreshing." Lin Ke's car stopped in front of the gate, and as he arrived, he saw teacher Duia waiting for students at the entrance. He rolled down the window and asked the boy, "Is that woman your teacher?" The boy quickly replied, "Her name is Du Jiao. She's the teacher from the city." While saying this, he unbuckled his seatbelt and jumped out. Lin Ke also got out of the car after the boy. Wenbo ran over and hugged the teacher, calling out loudly, "Teacher Du." She opened her arms to receive him. Perhaps the boy cherished his teacher very much. Teacher Du Jiao saw a stranger picking up the boy and asked a few questions. "Hello, may I ask if you are a relative of Tao Wenbo?" Lin Ke flashed a radiant smile, exuding the charm of a leading man as he always did when he saw a girl. "I am their neighbor, here in town to take care of some matters, and I conveniently brought the boy to school." He then bent down to ask the boy, "Are you going to let me pick you up again tonight?" The boy went straight to the point, leaving Lin Ke stunned. "Uncle Lin, do you want to pick me up, or do you want to come to see our teacher Do?" Wenbo's remark hit hard, causing both adults to turn red and awkwardly look away. Then the 2 of them waved goodbye to Lin Ke, because it was almost time to go to class. Currently, Lin Ke was in the hardware store. He pointed at the pipe in front of him. "Can you sell me 50 meters of this pipe?" Lin Ke stepped out of the car, happily holding the pipe. Tao Lao San came closer and asked, "Lin Ke, what are you doing? Why did you buy a pipe?" Lin Ke cheerfully patted the pipe. "I still feel that I shouldn't waste money on unnecessary things." He wondered, "What are you doing this for?" "Less is better than more. If there really is a fight, it won't be good for you." Lin Ke connected the pipe to the faucet. "It's okay. I just want to deal with him, but I don't have any evidence yet." Lin Ke extended the hose. Seeing this, Lao San rushed over and said, "Let me help you. This way it will water faster and avoid getting discovered." He took out a bottle of plank rose stimulant, held it in his hand, and poured it into the large canister. Lin Ke strapped the canister to his back and took the spray nozzle to water the garden. Suddenly, he felt that water was not flowing from the nozzle. Why has it stopped? He immediately turned his head and asked, "Is it because the hose isn't tightened?" Both of them stepped out of the greenhouse and were surprised to see a car running over the hose. Inside the car was Dai Xiao Liang, a thug from the village. He rolled down the window, resting his arm on the door, a cigarette in his mouth with an intimidating expression. "Tao Lao San, this isn't your land, is it?" Lin Ke looked at him and asked. He was Liu Dongming. Lao San turned and pointed, saying to him, "That's not him. His name is Dai Xiao Liang, a partner of Liu Dongming. Not a good person." He sat inside the car, speaking in a domineering tone. "Are you new here? You don't know the rules, so I won't hold it against you. Come here and pay up a total of 3,000 RMB. Seeing this, Lao San approached and said, "Their greenhouse is just a small structure. 500 RMB is more than enough." He heard this and showed an angry expression, pointing and shouting loudly, "I'm Lao San, get out of the way." You've been in this village for so many years, and you still don't know the rules of complete joy. Charging him 3,000 RMB is already cheap for you. Don't say any more words, just pay up. Lin Ke looked at him arrogantly and took off the jar slung over his shoulder. Xiao Liang brazenly took out his phone, and Lao San looked up when he saw him approaching. Just scan it here. Lin Ke unexpectedly punched him hard, causing his face to bruise and his teeth to shatter. He grabbed Lao San's hair, dragged him outside, and threw him to the ground. Too noisy. A puny brat coming here to ask for money. Xiao Liang's subordinates opened the door holding a stick. Dare to hit my brother Liang. He charged straight at Lin Ke with the stick, shouting madly, I'm going to break your legs today. He frowned, raising the stick high. Suddenly, he turned pale when Lin Ke seized the stick. Lin Ke chuckled lightly. With just this little skill of yours, you think you can break my legs? He snatched the stick, yanked it out of his hand, and struck his legs, causing him to stagger and fall to the ground, crying while clutching his leg. Xiao Liang and Lao San, both standing on either side, looked at him with concern. Lin Ke held the stick, turned his head back, and glared at Xiao Liang. Fearfully, he knelt down, trembling all over, clasping his hands in prayer. Please calm down a bit. Let's talk things over. Lin Ke coldly glanced and said, Why didn't you speak slowly earlier? Do you have to be beaten before you behave? Go water my greenhouse. Then he threw the hose towards the man, who was still pale with fear. Xiao Liang took the hose, looking pleased. I'll go and water for you now. On the other side, Lao San was frightened and hurriedly said to him, Lin Ke, if you hit Lu Dongming's people, it's a big deal. Lin Ke calmly replied, I know what I need is this effect. If I just arrest them, it's too easy on them. After bullying others for so long, they have to taste the consequences. 2 hours later, Xiao Liang emerged from the greenhouse with a smiling face, stammering, I've finished watering. Can I go now? He looked at the man, coldly saying, Get lost. The man stepped outside, slinging his arm around his subordinate as they left, not forgetting to turn and smile at him, saying, all right, we'll leave right now. At the hospital, Xiao Liang was the man known as Lu Dongming, the #1 evil boss of Complete Joy Village, looking at his subordinate lying on the bed, frowning and asking, what exactly happened? Speak slowly. He reclined sadly. A newcomer in the village connected the irrigation pipes and his own house, and when we went to collect the feeds, he ended up getting beaten. Lu Dongming raised his hand to his chin in thought and exclaimed, This person is good at fighting. A few days ago, he fought with someone from Wu Decan, and his seed store has to close down, right? Seeing him bow his head, Xiao Liang, still scared, said, What should we do then? Are we just going to let it go? Everyone in Complete Joy Village knows about this now, and we've all become a joke. Dongming held a string of beads in his hand, his expression darkening ominously. It's fine. Isn't he just a fish in a pond? In a few days, they'll fix the road, and I'll find an excavator to fill it in. If he dares to move, I'll bury him. Lin Ke, inside the glass case, touched the ground with his hand. He smiled as he looked at the system panel that appeared. Career completion level, 30%. Reward, E-level combat power. This reward can enhance the owner's fighting skills and strength. Lin Ke, what are you doing? Lin Ke was startled and turned around to see Lao San beaming. Doesn't your girlfriend want to raise a pig? The old mother pig at my place seems to be giving birth tonight. Do you want it? Lin Ke leaned against the wall. Of course. She's been asking me for days. Are you sure she'll give birth tonight? He replied warmly. Of course, for sure. Let me call her and tell her to come over. She'll definitely want to see. He took his phone and called King Ren. The other end answered, and Lin Ke said to King Ren, San's house has a pig about to give birth. Do you want to come over? Jay King Ren held the phone on this side, her face full of joy. Really, you want to go? I've never seen it before. When Jay King Ren arrived, she smiled and waved at them waiting. Brother San, sister-in-law. Lao San's wife greeted her with a bright smile. Little sister, why are you dressed so neatly? Hurry and change out of those old clothes and put on a mask. Just going around the pigsty would ruin your clothes. Hearing this, Jay King Ren replied with a smile. It's fine. Even though I grew up in the city, I'm not that picky. After all, I wasn't prepared. With that, she took Jay King Ren's hand and pulled her along. Your clothes, just by touch, it's clear they're expensive. It wouldn't be good if they get dirty. Come into the room and I'll find you something to wear. Jay King Ren stood there, a cheerful expression on her face as she saw her pull out a blue garment, holding it in front of her. Hurry up, take off your clothes and change. Jay King Ren slowly took off her clothes. She looked at her chest and exclaimed, Little sister, you will definitely raise your child well. A few shades of red appeared on Jay King Ren's face due to shyness, and she stammered, I'm fine too. Seeing her shy demeanor, the woman let it go and said to her, All right, I won't say anything more. went in from the city like you all have such delicate skin. In the warehouse, the four of them, along with the veterinarian, stood around a pig that looked ill lying on the ground. Lao San's wife, panicked and trembling, said, Dr. Xiao knew, it's already this late. Is there a problem? The doctor felt the pig's belly and said, it seems it is about to give birth. Lao San was stunned. Dr. Xiao knew. Can you think of another way? I have spent over $1,000 to raise it. If it dies, I will lose a lot. The doctor stood up and rubbed his head. It's just bad luck for you all. It can only be like this. This pig has issues. Lin Ke behind suddenly spoke up. Go buy 5 units of crop proteinal studium. It might still be saved. Lao San, surprised and not knowing what it was, asked Lin Ke, what is that? He held the car keys in his hand and explained, it's a type of labor support medicine. Go to the animal pharmacy in town to buy it. If you can't get it in half an hour, buy a knife to butcher it for food. Following Lin Ke's words, Lao San hurried off to buy labor support medicine for the pig lying on the ground. Jay King Ren's mood suddenly sank. She felt sad for the pig and tears welled up in her eyes. Seeing King Ren cry like that, the woman was a bit panicked and turned to ask, Sister, why are you crying? Then, with sparkling eyes and a choked voice, Jay King Ren replied, I feel a bit sorry for it. Understanding why she was so emotional, she comforted her. There's nothing to pity. If you really can't give birth, just kill it and eat it. At that time, you all can come over. Fresh pork tastes wonderful. King Ren was even more confused upon hearing this. She only silently questioned why it was like that. Meanwhile, Lin Ke stood by helplessly, only able to sigh. 20 minutes later, Tao Lao San returned with a bag of medicine in hand. He hurriedly announced, I'm back. On a small table, there were 2 vials of some medicine along with a few syringes. It turned out that Lin Ke was focused on drawing medicine from the vial into the syringe. He sat down and meticulously injected each dose into the pig. His actions were very professional, taking only a few seconds to complete. Seeing that everything was all right, Lin Ke was satisfied. All right, the mother pig successfully gave birth to a healthy litter of piglets. Everyone present was joyful again. The woman in the yellow dress watched the scene of the piglets nursing with contentment. She did not forget to thank Lin Ke. Thank you so much. Jay King Ren held a piglet in her hands to feed it milk. The small animal in her hands was eating deliciously, its eyes squinting with delight. King Ren then looked up and asked, Sister Lu, how much money should I transfer to you? The woman in the yellow dress smiled and said, just take it. If you really give me the money, I won't let you hug me anymore. A moment later, Jay King Ren carried the piglet towards the door where Lin Ke was waiting. Before leaving, he didn't forget to wave goodbye. Well, goodbye, Sister Lu. Suddenly, a system message appeared in front of Lin Ke, leaving him stunned. The content was the system's task. Develop the livestock industry. Raise the piglet to 100 kilograms. The reward is 200,000 proficiency points. Lin Ke was a bit taken aback after reading it. He didn't think that this could also be a task. Lin Ke was speechless. He could only scratch his head lightly. Ring! The phone unexpectedly rang, and it was Yang Guangxia calling. As soon as he answered, Yang Guangxia immediately asked, What are you busy with? Lin Ke replied somewhat dejectedly, Don't mention it. I'm raising pigs. The person on the other end was really confused, he exclaimed. What? Are you really raising pigs? Lin Ke, feeling somewhat playful, said, Recently, pork prices have been quite high. I'm planning to lower the price. Yang Guangxia didn't want to talk nonsense any longer, so he went straight to the point. Forget it. Let's not chat about this anymore. Do you remember the organization's matter? Their people have arrived in Zonghai and want to meet with you. Send me the address. I'll come find you tomorrow. Lin Ke put his phone on speaker mode. He raised the phone slightly, easily agreeing. Sure. At that moment, Jay King Ren was busy moving the piglet's pen. Once she was done, she stood up straight, brushed off her hands, and looked at Lin Ke saying, I'm heading back now. Do you want to come with me to Shanghai? Lin Ke responded to his girlfriend's question. I have a friend coming to fish tomorrow, so I need to prepare. I won't be going back. Jay King Ren didn't ask much. Knowing he had plans with friends, she only reminded him carefully. Then don't forget to buy milk powder for the piglet in town. Lin Ke was a bit surprised, softly explaining, It still drinks cow's milk. The next day at the large shopping center, Lin Ke remembered Jay King Ren's reminder. He walked into a store, went straight to the service counter, and decisively said, Sell me the most expensive pack of milk powder. Uncle Lin, a boy's voice called out. A young woman with 2 children, 1 boy and 1 girl, approached. Lin Ke happily patted the boy's head and asked, Aren't you going to school today? The boy politely replied, Ms. Du took us to buy a broom and a mop. The class has to clean up tomorrow. Seeing the 3 of them carrying cumbersome items, Lin Ke immediately wanted to help. Since you've finished your shopping, let me take you all home. The woman in front perked up, and without being polite, she said, "Thank you." As Lin Ke was going to the car, he loaded the belongings of 3 people into the trunk and closed it. He and the girl were about to get into the car when Man's voice called out, "Miss Du." The 2 of them froze. Behind them were 3 thugs with fierce expressions looking at them. Tu Jiao, frightened, tightly closed her eyes and quickly hid behind Lin Ke, leaving him looking confused. Dai Xiao Liang, holding a cigarette, pointed at Lin Ke and reported to Liu Dongming, "Boss, this guy is the one who broke Lao Bat's leg." Liu Dongming approached and asked Lin Ke, "Hey bro, it was one thing for you to injure my man, but now you're flirting with the girl I like." Lin Ke instructed Du, "You 3 get in the car first, don't pay attention to them." Hu Jiao hurriedly led the 2 children to the car and turned back to reply. Okay. Dai Xiao Liang, his face darkened, asked, "Brother Ming, what now?" "That kid is about to leave." Liu Dongming calmly ordered, "You go to the car, block it here, and see how they get away." He told the bald guy behind him, "Call more people over. I need to break his leg today." While Du Jia was trying to move the car with the 2 children out, another blue car blocked the road. The boy cried out in fear, "Uncle Lin, they are blocking the way." Dai Xiao Liang, sitting in the car, rolled down the window and mocked, "Aren't you feeling pretty cool? Today I'm parking like this. Let's see how you get out." Lin Ke shouted, "Hurry up and tell the kids to fasten their seatbelts." Du Jiao, sitting in the back of the car, anxiously replied, "Yes, the 2 children have been securely fastened." Tu Jiao called out, "It's done." Lin Ke then stepped on the gas, speeding up the car. He focused intently on the road ahead as Lin Ke's car got closer to the gang's vehicle. The thugs inside the car were scared, sweating profusely, their faces pale, mouths agape in fear. But what they didn't expect was that as Lin Ke's car approached, he quickly swerved, turning the car around. Liu Dongming quickly got out of the car. Liu Dongming angrily shouted, "Son of a bitch, I won't let you off." He turned back repeatedly, ordering his bald henchmen behind him, "Get in touch with the lift and excavator for me. I need to flatten their house." The bald henchman, holding a phone, hurriedly replied, "Understood." Having just escaped the danger zone, Lin Ke kindly asked everyone, "Are you okay?" At this moment, Du Jiao finally calmed herself down. She placed her hand on her chest and sighed, answering, "No, I'm fine." Suddenly, Tu Jiao remembered the 2 children. She gasped and turned to ask, "How are the 2 of you?" The 2 children were not afraid at all, but showed excitement and enthusiasm about what had just happened. They smiled and replied, "Ma'am, we are fine." It felt like we were playing a game. Finally, Tu Jiao felt relaxed and smiled. She softly spoke, "Thank you for helping me today. That person named Liu Dongming has been bothering me for a long time. It even came to my house to look for me. If you hadn't taught him a lesson, I wouldn't have been able to leave right away." Lin Ke chuckled softly. He replied, "We have our share of conflicts as well. If it weren't for you, I would have taught them a lesson if I met them today." After a while, they arrived at Du Jiao's workplace, a large school. Lin Ke opened the trunk, revealing many nutritious foods packed in various colorful boxes. Suddenly, a cheerful boy ran over and called Du Jiao. "You're back so soon. I was going to come pick you up." This young man was Gu Fi, a college friend of Du Jiao. As soon as she saw him, Du Jiao pointed at Lin Ke and explained, "I met Mr. Lin on the way, so he brought us back." Hu Fei seemed a bit displeased upon hearing this, but he still cheerfully advised Du Jiao, "If something like this happens again, just call me. If I run into them, I will definitely teach them a proper lesson." She turned back to him, speechless and unsure of what to say. Then she turned to Lin Ke and warmly said, "Mr. Lin, thank you very much for today. Whenever you have time, I'd like to treat you to a meal." Lin Ke modestly replied, "It's nothing. Don't mention it." Seeing the smiling faces of the 2, Hu Fi stood behind them, looking as if he wanted to turn to stone. He walked to his car, not forgetting to turn back and wave goodbye. "Everyone keep working. I'm leaving now." Du Jiao also waved back. In the pen was a cute little piglet with a lovely light pink color. Its face was Knave, making its first cries. Looking at the little piggy in the pen, Lin Ke bent down and asked, "Why are you so hungry already? I'm going to get you some food now." The little pig seemed very excited. It made several sounds as if responding to Lin Ke. Du Jiao took out a yellow box and happily ran over, calling out loudly, "Mr. Lin." She handed the small box to Lin Ke and said, "I heard Wenbo say you live here alone. Probably haven't had dinner, so I brought you some food." Lin Ke pointed at the pig pen and replied, "I've been busy taking care of it all day. When would I have time to eat?" After looking around for a moment, Du Jiao puzzledly asked, "Mr. Lin, you don't seem to lack money. Why did you come to Complete Joy Village? Are you looking to invest?" Lin Ke took the lunchbox from Du Jiao's hand and then gently denied. Not for investment, just want to experience rural life. Besides, the air here is good. Du Jiao was very surprised to hear that. She replied, "That's right, the environment here is good. Most people are kind, except for those trash people." Du Jiao clasped her hands together, her face flushed, and shyly said, "Thank you for helping me today. I'll head back now." Lin Ke raised the lunchbox and replied happily, "Thank you for the lunchbox." Before going out, Du Jiao waved goodbye. "Goodbye, Lin." As soon as she reached the door, she was called back by Go Fi, who rushed over to her, angrily questioning Du Jiao. "Why are you here?" She turned back to look at him, startled, and gently replied, "Lin helped me this morning. He lives here alone, so I just came to bring him some food." "What's going on?" Go Fi frowned. He appeared worried. "Weren't you told this morning? Liu Wanming's group is very dangerous. If anything happens, just call me, and I will go with you." After a moment, Gu Fi lowered his voice and made a suggestion. "Let me take you home. If you don't have anything to do later, we can go see a movie." But Du Jiao quickly declined. "No, I have to go home and write lesson plans." Lin Ke stood outside, listening to their conversation. He rested his chin on his hand, thinking, "This girl is really interesting." Just as he was about to step inside, the sound of a vehicle startled him, causing him to turn around. 2 cars had parked in front of his house. 3 people got out of the vehicles. Mr. Yang approached the house, glancing around for a moment before praising Lin Ke. "This kid is quite skillful. Life is quite vibrant." Lin Ke smiled and replied, "It's just normal. Once the vegetables in the yard are ready to eat, I will send you some." He pointed at the 2 people in front of him and then introduced, "These 2 are comrades from a special organization. Today, the man with platinum hair dressed in a brown suit is Tao Cheng from Group 2. The girl beside him is named Wang Bingyu, also from Group 2. Lin Ke happily shook hands with Tao Cheng, introducing himself. "I am Lin Ke." Liang Ru's attention was drawn to the cute little pig locked inside the cage. She leaned in closer to the cage and asked Lin Ke, "Do you still raise pigs?" Lin Ke turned around and cheerfully explained, "I said I came here to enjoy rural life. If I don't raise pigs, then it would be a waste to come here." Why did Liang Ru freeze upon hearing that? She was speechless at his thoughts. The 2 of them walked towards the simple house in front of them together. Wang Bingyu expressed her discomfort and asked Tao Cheng, "Tell me, is this person mentally challenged? Raising pigs in a cage?" He replied, "That can't be said like that. Talented people often have different ways of thinking. This is just a hobby of one person. We have no right to say anything." Wang Bingyu's expression suddenly darkened, and she murmured, "I'm very curious how someone like that can learn to develop Danshan power." Tao Cheng turned to advise her, "Maybe he is a genius. Let's not question too much. Let's talk to him first and see the situation before we speak." They all went to the courtyard of Lin Ke's house. On the table was a set of brown cups with a simple, rustic design. Lin Ke poured each person a cup of tea. As soon as they sat down, Tao Cheng asked, puzzled, "Mr. Lin, we are primarily here to know some things about you. We want to know who taught you martial arts." Lin Ke calmly replied while pouring tea into the cup, "Self-study, you too can rest assured about this. I have no connections with anyone. Moreover, I grew up in an orphanage. In other words, my background is quite clean." Tao Cheng made a request. "Now we intend to invite you to the organization for training. There shouldn't be any issues with that, right? Training is certainly not a problem. But I want to know about Julia Island." Tao Cheng explained about Julia Island. In fact, it is just a small city where there are all kinds of people from all over the world, and there is only one goal, which is to discover artifacts buried in prehistoric civilization. This situation is somewhat similar to mercenaries abroad. Lin Ke rested his hand on his chin and asked curiously, "So since both of you come from prominent families in Huaxia, the members of your families must also be aware of this, right?" Wang Bingyu frowned and replied, "Regarding our situation in the family, only a few people know. Many of our seniors have retired from our organization, passing down through generations." Suddenly, Lin Ke stood up, took his hands out of his pockets. He extended his hand and asked, "I have no more questions. When does the training start?" Tao Cheng stood up, held Lin Ke's hand, and instructed, "It should be about half a month from now. I will call you then. Please take care of your family matters first." Suddenly, a loud noise from behind startled both of them, and they turned to look. Many excavators and large vehicles rumbled in.